Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Drive Pink Dialogue. We are 60 seconds, maybe 90 seconds from Inter Miami's 1-1 draw against Charlotte FC, which means we're about 3.5 minutes from Luis Suarez missing a absolute sitter in the final seconds. Tough way to lose the game. I'm sorry, to draw the game. I think I was encouraged by a lot of things in this game. I do think, unlike some of the last few games, there are a lot of positive takeaways. And again, I do think Inter Miami did enough to win this game tonight, and I didn't necessarily feel that way over the last couple games. So we will talk about it, but first we want to get you guys in the chat, hear from you. The point of these post-game instant reactions is to feel the emotions, both of us, but also of you guys. And so I want to hear from you and what you have to say. But before all of that, I'm your host, Scotty. I'm here with my very disappointed co-host, Saur. How you feeling tonight, man?
Yeah, disappointed, but like more deflated than anything else. I thought there were plenty of opportunities to win the game. It was, especially at the last moment, I gave out a very audible, loud gasp when that miss happened. I thought that was the perfect opportunity. Charlotte was good again. I think every time they play into Miami, they just show up. They had plenty of opportunities themselves. The midfield was wide, gaping open. I'm not sure if I'm enjoying the midfield setup that Tata Martino is going with, where it's potentially just two midfielders trying to run the center of the pitch. Not great. Disappointing. Very disappointing. 3 draws on the trot. I think Columbus drew that game against DC as well, so it's slightly disappointing that we didn't capitalize on that. But the points record is almost gone from our hands, which is not good.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, but I want to get to the chat first. Hamad, and by the way, Hamad woke up early out in Nepal to watch this game, and so I'm sorry that you didn't get that classic finish. I'm sure you would have wanted. Luis Suarez, man, he had an opportunity in the last moment of the game. Was him 2.5 feet from the net, and all he had to do was put it on target, and Inter Miami runs away celebrating with this game. Matthias Rojas had a shot maybe around the 89th minute or 91st, something in there. And I thought that was the game winner. He puts it a little wide, but he had completely caught Christian Kalina flat-footed. Kalina had a really, really good game. Adelson Malanda, really, really good game. Andrew Privet, really good game. Tim Ream, very good. Ashley Westwood, their defensive midfielder, I thought was excellent. And so I want to start by giving credit to this Charlotte backline, which is really, really good, and they played really well today, including the goalkeeper, including that defensive midfielder, Ashley Westwood. So I want to start there. Charlotte got what they wanted out of this game. They played their style. They didn't sit back as much as we would have thought they would, especially in the first 75 minutes or so until Inter Miami breaks through. But I thought they played well. I thought Inter Miami still had chances to win this game, and it's disappointing they didn't get them.
Yeah, no, it was open game, back to front, almost basketball-esque in the first half, 45 minutes. It just felt like one team attacking, second team attacking. Charlotte was very, very impressive in how they were pushing for a goal. They didn't sit back. Defensively, they were very solid. Anything Inter Miami threw at them, they would just close down all the spaces. And Inter Miami fell into the trap. I mentioned this during the pregame. You mentioned this during the pregame. The 2 people that we picked for our circle the lineup, Chelo Wigan and Gomez, both had defensive troubles, and we were quite open on the wide side of the pitch, and that's where Charlotte's attacking plans all came together. It was very clear what they were trying to do. They didn't necessarily sit in a low block, but every time Miami went forward, putting numbers in front of them, they had people occupying the space in behind, and that's how they were attacking us. They could have definitely had a couple more goals. Adjaman, again, was terrifying on the pitch. I don't know if I'd want to see this team in the playoffs.
I'll be honest. I don't agree with that. I thought, sure, they could have scored a second goal because, they had 9 shots. But the thing I really wanted to see today was, we talked about this in the pregame show, have a good final 20 minutes. They had a good final 20 minutes. They didn't have a good first 20 minutes, and that was disappointing. But really, we wanted to see them dominate the game. Control possession, control the game. And to that, extent, they had 61% possession, 21 shots, right? 21 shots is what you're looking for from a home team that is better and dominating the ball. 4 big chances, and they probably didn't convert any of those big chances. And then 2.5 XG, which should be enough to get you 2 goals that you need to win this game. I know it's instinctual and reactionary to be disappointed in Miami for not winning, but I thought they created the type of chances that would at least lead me to believe that moving forward, they're going to be okay. Miami King says the referee was not very good. Do you want to talk about the penalty that wasn't?
My mind is lost right now. I don't even remember what penalty. Oh, the Melanda point. I don't think that was a penalty. I'll be honest.
I agree that doesn't get called as a penalty. What I will say, and I don't understand this about the rule, but the contact with the player, which is the initiation of the penalty, happens before he touches the ball. So, and I get that that's not ever called a penalty, but I don't understand the rule particularly well, I guess. He says Tata still subbed late. That is true. Francisco says Uruguayan strikers aren't looking too keen lately. I'm not exactly sure who this is in reference to, but I can imagine it is Darwin Nunez because this generally does apply to Darwin Nunez. Gabriela says, at least the crew tied as well. That is true. A 2-2 draw for the Columbus Crew at DC United. I'll check out the updated standings, but should we talk about Messi? Because I thought, needed this performance where he had an opportunity to shoot himself back into rhythm. He was sort of poor with his opportunities early in the game. He had a couple shots that were sort of tame, but I thought he was through those, building his own confidence, building his own tenacity, and I thought he was really good in the second half. Obviously has a banger of a goal. As concerned as we were about Messi, and I talked about him not being aggressive enough last game, I thought he showed that. I thought he brought that, and I thought he rewarded himself by continuing to push and push and push because he has that level of talent. And of course, he rewards us with the goal, and ultimately could have rewarded us with a couple other opportunities, right? I think the that final ball came from Jordi Alba, but I think it came from Messi prior to that. How did you feel about Messi's performance?
I think he was the best player on the pitch. Started off a little bit slow.
For us.
For us, yes. It didn't feel like he was in the rhythm at the start of the game, but I thought our offense was the best thing about us today, which is, again, I'm glad that happened. A big positive. I thought the movement up front was fantastic. We were creating opportunities even in the first half. And I thought what let us down was our midfield control and leaving in space behind, allowing Charlotte to get in and create some of those opportunities. But I think offensively, you mentioned the numbers already, 21 shots, 4 big chances. We were creating opportunities throughout that game. Messi got the goal, fantastic finish. I think that was what we were looking from him, to take more opportunities outside the box. Didn't think he was overplaying anything. He tried a couple of passes in the first half that were meant to bop into Jordi Alba, but it didn't come off. And I think it was Westwood who got in the way at one point, and then Melanda got in the way another point. But then in the second half, those balls came through once, twice, thrice. Like, they were on point every single time. That's what led to that last opportunity where Suarez should have buried it. But offensively, I think everything flowed from Messi, and we were very good offensively this game. There was a lot of movement, a lot of good patterns of play, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think if you told me before we started that we were going to get a draw from this game, but Messi was going to look like this Messi for the first time really since he went to the Copa America, I think I would have taken that and been happy with it, because I think it bodes well moving forward. And it wasn't just the Suarez shot at the end. Campana had an opportunity late, a nice save by Kalina, but there were opportunities in the last 10, 12, 15 minutes of the game for us to get that winner. And of course, it just didn't quite happen. Bizrat says Rojas should have played from the start. He was more threatening and involved in Gressel. I will say it's been about 35 days since Rojas last played for Inter Miami. So the fact that he's been out for over a month probably led to the decision to not start him. But I agree. I thought he looked really good. I'm getting a little annoyed with the Gomez left wing thing. I get that Tata thinks that Gomez is the best left winger, and I think that that's probably fair. Not that he had a good game today, but like Robert Taylor hasn't been particularly impactful. And so I understand wanting to put Diego Gomez there, but Gomez is the best box-to-box midfielder in the league, and you haven't controlled the midfield in the last 2 weeks, in the last 3 or 4 games. And so put your best number 8 back in the midfield and allow a real winger to get up there. And even if it's a little bit of a downgrade in Tata's mind, and I question that, at left wing, at least you have a stronger midfield to make up for it. And by the way, you know who would look good out there? Matías Rojas. When Matías Rojas comes in, he comes into the midfield instead of Diego Gomez. Diego Gomez eventually makes his way to the midfield for about 8 minutes. But I would love to see Gomez in the midfield and Matías Rojas on the left side on Wednesday.
It's not going to happen, man. I think Tata Martino's too fixated on making sure the players that he has all fit into this lineup somehow. And the best way he can do that is by pushing Gomez out wide and then having Grasso in the midfield. Because if you push Gomez in the middle, you have to take Grasso out. And
but Rojas has to play.
Yeah,
Rojas,
and Rojas,
you already have to play Rojas.
Like, I don't know if Rojas is going to play. I think Rojas has always been that backup to Messi. So I think he's going to be a bench option. But it's just, I don't know why, but I'm very disappointed in something. I can't place my mind on what it is. And it's definitely not the offense, because we had a really good offensive game today. But that midfield makeup is really...
It's always
the midfield makeup that's really leaving me annoyed, because Bright didn't have a great game today. I think he was a little bit sloppy throughout, but I wouldn't even blame him entirely, because he was asked to cover the entire width of the pitch because there was nobody to cover the flanks. We're essentially playing a two-man midfield with Redondo and Bright. And I don't know why the setup is like that. You need that third man in the middle to be able to control the game a little bit. I don't know who that third man's going to be, because you put in Grasso, who drifts out wide, and I'm sure that's the instructions that Tata is giving him. Messi is obviously not a midfielder, so he's going to be playing throughout the field. He's going to come back sometimes. He's going to play up ahead sometimes. So he's not a midfielder out and out. So then you're just left with 2 people in the middle, and that's your setup. And at some points, Redondo was in the back line. At some points, he was in the middle. Didn't think he was particularly bad, but didn't think he was particularly great either. It was just, I thought that we could have done so much better if we just controlled the midfield a little bit, and that would have serviced the front line a lot more, because I thought Gomez had a bit of a poor game today. And things changed once Rojas came on, because then you had a 3-person midfield who they were controlling it a lot better. And the penalty shout was Rojas passing that ball into Gomez, who should have done better technically. It was a bad touch that led him into the box. But it was a lot of question marks about the midfield.
No, and I think you nailed it. I agree about Redondo. I thought this was Redondo's best performance in quite some time, but he is not an elite ball progressor, and neither is Yannick Bright. And so when you have those as your only 2, you're going to struggle to play the ball through the midfield to get service to your front. And you saw in the first half, Messi was sort of dropping into the midfield to get on the ball, because Gressel's out there exactly as Tata wants him to be, occupying that space on the right. But there's not really a game plan to get it to him consistently. And so you're just taking him out of position. You're creating sort of a 4-2-4. And it's easy once you get past the back line, that front line, especially when 2 of those front line players aren't really defensive players, to just control possession going the other way, or hit fast if you have the numbers advantage. So I agree with you, man. It's the midfield, and it's been the midfield for so long. And it's not that any of these players aren't good enough to play in the midfield, but you have to pair them up well enough so that their strengths and their weaknesses balance each other out. And this, again, just doesn't really work.
By the way, Aviles got another yellow card, so he's not playing the next game.
Yeah, well, I was going to get to that. No one else got a yellow card that's going to cost them this next game. Noah Allen comes back. I would imagine on Wednesday night, we're either going to get Noah Allen and Busquets, or we're going to get Busquets and Ian Frey. So, it's okay. But Tony says, this is what happens when the best players are not in the starting 11. I think Tata put who he thinks are the best 11 in the starting 11. I think he plays them out of position in order to accommodate that. I guess this might be about Matías Rojas, who, again, was really good, but coming back from injury, you can understand why he didn't start.
I can understand the Rojas decision, but I don't know if that Redondo Grasso Bright combination is the one to go with, because you need a ball progressor in there.
But do you think
Grasso in the middle?
But do you think Tata thinks those are his best 11?
No. Tata doesn't think. If Tata thought, he would have done differently.
No, that's my point. He thinks the best 11 is who he played.
Yeah.
David says the curse of blondes continues. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it. But in the first half, there was like a real poor touch from Suarez. And I was just thinking to myself, this is exactly what happened to Campana. SD says Messi kept on trying, too slowly getting in shape, maybe for the playoffs. I thought there was a difference between the first 20 and the last 20 for him. I thought he would look the
Yeah,
best
he looked
he's
sharper.
looked
And his
in
link
this
up with
last half.
Suarez and Alba was also a lot more prominent today than it was in the last few games. And it looked like they were getting some good patterns going. Now, sometimes it felt a little bit forced, but I think Messi had a very good second half of the game. Very, very good.
Guys, before I continue, can you guys do us a favor and just hit the like button? We have well over 100 people watching, and so we would really appreciate that. Natalia says, I would like to see Messi playing with Campana. So would I. But I understand why Suarez plays as much as he does. I will never forget the U.S. Open Cup semifinal second half, but that's just me. Miami King says Rojas has to start instead of Gressel. He's going to start instead of Gressel, right?
Yeah. I think he's up the pecking order.
But will he start at left wing?
No.
With Gomez in the midfield?
No.
Like he should be.
No.
You remember like a month ago when Gomez was in the midfield and then Tata switched Gressel from the right wing to the midfield and put Rojas back on the right wing, and he looks so natural as a winger? I want to see that.
You're not going to.
I know. Nash, Ash says Tata out. Natalia says never liked Gressel. I do question Gressel and Messi if they can really fit together.
Yeah, but that's not the point, though. Gressel's not supposed to be a starter for this team. Gressel's supposed to play right wing when Messi's not available.
Hold on. What, you think that Gressel's not supposed to be a starter for this team?
No.
Explain to me why he started more games than any other player, including Drake Callender.
Because I'm not the coach.
He's played more games. He started more games than Drake Callender.
Because I am not coaching into Miami, Tata Martinez. That's why.
Taran says, we have missed so many chances. Yeah, I think that's actually when we calm down, when we look at it tomorrow, when we do our full game breakdown, that's going to be our takeaway is Inter Miami could have scored many more goals. Again, 4 big chances missed, 21 total shots, 2.5 XG. It was there for them. I think Messi will be kicking himself for a couple of his shots in the first half. Obviously, Luis Suarez with that final ball, but yeah. Miami King says no Gressel in the midfield. Joey says Gressel in the midfield doesn't work. The midfield is so bad. They have no creativity. Messi has to come so deep to even get the ball. Can't believe Suarez missed that. That seems well put. I don't know what else to say to that. Absolutely right. Ash says they didn't play up to Inter Miami standards. Did you think, besides for Gressel, who felt invisible, and Diego Gomez, anyone had a bad game?
I don't think Suarez was particularly good. Alba was okay, much better in that second half. Wigan, I think, was at fault for the goal that Charlotte scored. He left the right side completely exposed. That gave them the opportunity to put that ball in. I'll have to rewatch it a little bit. I'm sure I'm going to see that. I thought the defense was fine. I thought the defense did what they had to do. But Alba and Wigan were not particularly great at recovering. Neither were Gressel and Gomez in supporting them with those recovery runs. Gressel had a couple of good recoveries and swaps with Chelo Wigan, but it wasn't anything that was too bad. Yes, we missed a few chances here and there, but I think the midfield was the most gaping hole for our team. And I think it was Ash who mentioned in the pre-game show, it's so annoying that we can never have all departments on the pitch play well at the same time. It always feels like if the offense is clicking, the midfield is off and the defense is off. If the defense starts clicking, the midfield is off and the offense is off. If the offense and the defense start clicking, then the midfield is off. But the midfield is always off. That we've discovered. But the offense and defense have never played well together in one game, at least in the last few stretch of games.
It feels to me like because you have so much creative talent in Messi and Suarez, that your midfield needs a defensive anchor, you need a ball progressor, and you need an athlete in the midfield. You don't need like a true number 10 that's going to be your creative spark. And so you just find the players on this team that fit each of those individual aspects and you put them on the field together instead of trying to have 3 athletes or instead of trying to have 3 ball progressors or trying to have 3 creators. It just doesn't need to happen.
It's a little bit worse than that. If you actually if you actually think about it, we're only playing 2 players in the midfield.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, especially when Gressel's on the field. When Gressel's on the field,
yeah, no, and this is not saying that Gressel is being invisible and that's why we're not seeing him our literal system tactics is having 2 players in the midfield. Whether it's
do you know why? Do you know why he continues to put Gressel out there in the as a midfielder?
Enlighten me.
Because he doesn't feel like he can get enough creativity or offensive punch from his right back down that right channel. And he's trying to occupy those spaces and he doesn't feel like he's getting it from Cello. And it's almost as if he just needs a right back who can be dangerous in the final third, just like he has on the other side. Wonder will he'll ever find a player like that.
We even played the 3-4-3 formation, and even in that, we had a 2-man middle, man. I don't get this weird tactical obsession. I don't understand it. I just don't.
It's dangerous too, because this is how you can give up that game, the goal that cost you your season in the playoffs. So Miami King says, I said before the game, Gressel, no offense and no defense. Yeah. Ikem says Suarez should cut that thing off. Man, blonde is not it. I will tell you, I was very skeptical when we talked about this on our Thursday podcast about the haircut. Tata needs to change. Thomas says the midfield is too slow. Carlos says the points record still feels doable if we can beat Columbus, which I actually think we will. The players will be up for the match on the road. Okay, so we should have talked about this. 5 players could have gotten suspended for that game. Really, 4 players could have. Aviles was going to. So none of those 4 get suspended. We almost have a full team. We'll be missing Aviles. We'll be missing David Martinez. But basically, everyone will be available for that game. Does Tata go for that game now that it's the next thing up? You think he's going to rotate heavily?
Yeah. Be prepared to see Lawson Sunderland in goal.
No, but for real, there's a world where Campana starts, where Robert Taylor starts, where Kramaski and David Ruiz and Ian Frey all start, and Messi and Suarez and Jordi Alba come off the bench in the 60th minute. Like, that is definitely plausible.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a possibility, and that's probably what's going to happen. I just have absolutely my faith in Tata Martino has dwindled from 20% to like -5 now. I'm in the pits, man. I'm in the disappointing pits right now. Apologies if you can't sense my enthusiasm. I'm very deflated after that draw.
You know what's funny about that is it felt like the last Charlotte game was almost the peak of how we felt about Tata, because he made that great halftime sub to completely change the game. And it was like an aggressive sub where he understood what was going on and made the correct adjustments. We haven't seen that a lot lately. Bizrat says Charlotte. Go ahead.
Sorry, there's another issue that I have with this, because I feel like we talk tactics, right? We like to talk ball. That's the entire essence of our conversations. That's the entire essence of Drive Pink dialogue. But when you have a man at the helm whose mind you cannot read and understand, it becomes so frustrating to figure out what we are actually trying to do, and what we should be doing. I think we understand well, but what we're trying to do is something that I can't get my head around. So I feel like I actually need to sit down and do like a full-fledged 2-week study of Tata Martino's intentions and mindset to actually be able to talk properly about this. You seem to have figured out what Tata Martino actually wants out of this team. So I would love to hear from you what that is, but that's my frustration right now.
Well, I think it's one of 2 things. Either we are both idiots and Tata is playing 40 chess, or it's actually way simpler and dumber than we think it is and should be. And, I guess in our position, we can't really tell the difference.
Yeah,
Bizrat says
mental health. Sorry.
Bizrat says Charlotte was ready for the spread to the Alba, then cutting back to Messi. Campana should have been subbed earlier. Absolutely agree. That Charlotte back line was really good. Again, we talked about this, but Malanda, such a good player. Tim Ream, so steady. Kalina was good in this game. Ashley Westwood, I think, may have been their player of the game in the midfield. And then Ajimong and Vargas came on in the second half, and they were dangerous. Like, I think we understood exactly what the Charlotte team was. It's just we couldn't break them down. Ash says, it seemed like our midfield and backline weren't awake during some counters. Well, that's what happens when you get overwhelmed, right? Well, that's what happens when you get overwhelmed, though. Yeah. When you have Gressel out of position and Cello out of position and Jordi Alba high up the pitch, and you only have 2 midfielders and 2 center backs, like, you get overwhelmed and outnumbered, and you need those elite one-on-one defenders in order to handle that. This was a problem we had early in the season, that Hasn't been as bad lately, so I'll give him that credit. Ikem says Campana is so annoying. Ooh, I would say Suarez was more today. I think if you dye your hair white, you got to score a goal, man. I don't know. Like that's like a big, bold move, and then you got to score the big, bold goal to go with it. It is a penalty. He touched Gomez first. I get why it's not called, but it feels like it should be a penalty by the letter of the law because he does initiate contact with Gomez, which
And he
would have.
goes in with the intention, like he goes in to get the ball, but he also takes the player out. So there's a case to be made, but I don't think it was a penalty.
I don't know. Says I agree. I think based on all the soccer I watched, that's not a penalty, but I think it should be. And if it happened against my team, I would have thought it should.
That's exactly how I measure it. I always think
Yeah.
of it. If it happened against my team, would I be frustrated or not? And I would be frustrated if it was given against Inter Miami. So yeah.
I don't know, says Suarez. Lie. AZ Rebellion says Tata got it wrong. Hard to argue with. Sean says that was bad. Ikem says not Messi's best game, almost average, but his average are people's best. Again, even though Messi wasn't phenomenal throughout, and I think he would have been frustrated with his first half performance, I liked this game from Messi where he was just going to get on the ball and find his way back into rhythm. And I thought he did that. We saw in the second half. Cynical says, we need Martinez back. We need Busquets back in the midfield. Martinez comes back and everything changes. I think this is one half of it. And I think putting Diego Gomez back in the midfield is the other half. If you want to dominate the midfield, have the absolute class of Busquets, the menace of Diego Gomez, and the anchor man to blanket you in case something goes wrong in Yannick Bright, and you are going to have an incredible midfield. And instead, we lose the midfield battle every single game.
Gomez is not playing the midfield. He is not. Not under this regime. No, he's not.
I know. We were so excited to get Gomez back, and the fact that he didn't go to Brighton during the summer, and we haven't seen him be the elite box-to-box player since then. It's really frustrating. I do wonder if part of the agreement to keep Gomez in Miami was we'll play him in a more attacking role so he can sort of develop that part of his game, but I don't love it. Miami King says Messi needs more games. He will be totally fine. I agree. Natalia says, I hate Tata Martino. We are better than prior games. Cynical Tube says, no Martinez, no playoff run, wasting Busquets on the back line. Busquets can do it, though. That's the thing. I think if you start Rojas in this game over Gressel, we look a lot better in this game throughout.
I agree with you, but I disagree with you. I think Busquets is really good in that back line, but I don't trust Tata Martino, man. I don't trust Tata Martino about what he's going to do in the midfield when Busquets is not there. So I'd rather push Busquets in the middle, have Martinez back in the back line, so that at least whatever combination Tata Martino goes with, we'll have the class of Busquets to bail us out a little bit, because he adds that element of composure and calm, which Tata Martino tries very hard to suck out of that midfield. Sorry,
You say that, but the second you get Busquets, Redondo, and Gress on the midfield, you're going to feel very differently.
Oh, no.
Icom says that the annoying thing that the Messi game today is that he missed the easier chances and scored the harder one. It's so annoyingly funny.
Yeah.
Listen, 2 weeks from now, or when we play New England, he's going to score 3 goals if he has the same performance. Like, I don't have any doubt about that. DMX says Columbus drew 2, Cincinnati lost. We are winning the Shield easily. This was always the thing, and this is why I was confident to say that we were going to win the Supporters Shield a couple weeks ago, is because other teams were going to draw points. I didn't expect Inter Miami to get 3 from 9, but here we are, and ultimately, this is the MLS, right? Gomez was not the problem. Gressel did nothing. Listen, Gomez got the ball a lot down that left side in sort of positive positions, and he turned it over basically every time.
His final ball was off.
Yeah, his final ball was off. Gomez should definitely be in the midfield, says Ash. I agree. As long as we don't lose the game against Columbus, we win the Shield. I agree. A says, yep, wasting Gomez's true potential. You see, everyone sees it, except Tata. Rojas is better at left side behind Messi. He's better at left side behind Messi. I meant at right side. No Gressel, please. I agree that he's better on the right side, but you're not going to bench Messi for Matthias Rojas. So try him on the left, see what he's got. Send Gressel to the studio. I agree, Gomez in midfield and start Rojas over Gressel. Yep. Upcode says stop. We couldn't finish. It is the final third. I agree with you in this game. It is Inter Miami created enough chances to win this game. Again, 21 shots, 4 big chances. They absolutely could have won this game. Ash says Tata's tactics is mysterious and beyond human understanding.
Thank you, Ash.
We had 8 shots on goal and couldn't put it in again. And some of them were incredible chances. Even in those final minutes, Campana had a point blank shot. And then the Suarez one is going to be frustrating for the next couple of days. How did Suarez miss that? Thomas says Redondo isn't great. How did you feel about Redondo? Was this his best? I thought it was his best performance in a while.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I didn't particularly have any issues with him. I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes he's very, very pessimistic with his passing. He goes back a lot. And there's been instances in games where I've just seen like, okay, dude, just stand around 45 degrees and there's a person free right there. And he just goes back to Busquets. So I think that part of his game can be developed a little bit more. He's slightly too conservative, especially in the role that he's supposed to play. He shouldn't be that conservative. But I thought he was good this game. He was fine. I don't think there was any issues as such. The problem was not that the midfield didn't play well. There were just not enough bodies in the midfield to contain some of the pressure that was coming back at us. And I know the next comment by Upcall says we had no problem progressing the ball. It was not the midfield. Yes, offensively it wasn't the midfield, but defensively we were leaving ourselves very, very vulnerable.
Control.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
control of the game.
Just someone to take control of the ball and calm everything down when it needs to and pick the pace up when it needs to. That's what we were missing.
And A sort of has the perfect response. Immediately after Rojas came in, the game dynamics changed. Absolutely. Cynical says Gressel can't play defense. And then Thomas says Gressel was so bad. Then Upcode says Gressel is a piece of vanilla cardboard. Gressel's being asked to do something that he's not. Gressel's a good player. And he's not even being asked to be a midfielder, to your point. He's being asked to play out wide, but also have defensive midfield responsibilities that he can't possibly do. And even Diego Gomez can't possibly, like, it doesn't make sense what he's being asked to do.
I'll give you a very simple example, right? And I know we want to get through all these amazing comments that you guys are putting in, but the simple example of this is
awesome.
Bright and Redondo are asked to be in a position that they're covering way too much ground that they alone can. They need a third body in there to be able to do that. As soon as you put in someone like Rojas in this game, then you have Rojas and Redondo taking up the Bright and Redondo position. And Bright can be that sweeper in behind them who can cover the flanks as soon as Charlotte is making in those runs behind those spaces. He can cover up those spaces as and when he needs to so that they don't have that opportunity to pressure us on those sides where there's a lot of space. Without that third body in there, we were just getting run ragged by someone like Adjuman, he's an elite ball holder. Like, he's elite. In opportunities where the ball was like 50-50, he would make it 100% his own, which is really annoying. And yeah, you could see the change in dynamics as soon as Rojas came on. Anyways.
Now that we're sort of starting to get to the end of the season, I'm looking at styles of players. And we haven't talked about this at all. And so maybe this isn't the right time, but I'm starting to look at the style of players I want to see on this team next year. Bizrat says, Charlotte coach won the tactical battle. He drew with these players against Messi, Suarez, Alba, and Busi. Yeah, and that back line was really good, and I don't think that should go understated. A says, exactly, we need Busquets in the midfield. Joey says, Gressel in the midfield doesn't work. The midfield is so bad. They have no creativity. Messi has to come so deep to even get the ball. Can't believe Suarez missed that. And, again, to your point, there's two midfielders. I apologize. They played so deep that it's hard for them to progress the ball because they're just not in a position to do that because they have to cover so much ground, which means they have to play deeper in the pitch to not get overrun. Gressel definitely was the worst player in this game. Need Rojas to start Wednesday. He's a threat to the crew. Bad Tata tactics. You're against the top 2 defense in the league and a bad offense. So why not load up the offensive players at the start? Mark says, how many times are we going to be stretched out in the midfield because Tata continues to play a duo of Redondo and Gressel? It's really something that needs to change within the last weeks of the season. Gressel can be a sub, Rojas at left wing, and Gomez as the 8. There's a reason Brighton bought him, and it wasn't to replace Matoma on the left. It was to play in the midfield. I mean, snaps to that one. Great comment. Thomas says Rojas needs to start next game with Campana to press Columbus. Should we talk about Suarez's overall performance? Because I know he missed the final chance, but I felt like he wasn't good for much of this game. But I will rewatch.
I don't know. I'll have to rewatch the game because a lot of it, I think, got mixed up in that Suarez, Messi, Alba combination. So it felt like he was doing a lot. But I don't know if he was good this game. I'll have to rewatch it. On
I
first,
think of the three, he was the worst.
worst, and yeah, even I would go as far as say that he'd probably be in contention for Heron that flew north tomorrow. So
Messi TV says the Tata combination in the midfield is really bad. Ash says, when will the Barca boys revolt and start managing on-field tactics? Do you think they're worried about that? I don't. I think they think, and this is just pure speculation, I think they probably think they're going to show up in the playoffs and treat it like a cup final and just like rise to the occasion, and then it'll be fine. Like, I think that's probably what they think. They're like, this is regular season. We've already won the league title, so let's just save it for the playoffs. I know that's silly to think, but that's just the irrational optimist in me. Thomas says, we need midfield speed if your forwards don't go back. Crew is a different team. At least the Crew tied, says Upcode. A says, I'm hopeful from what I've seen from Rojas after he came in. By the way, we haven't really talked about this. Rojas looks totally healthy and good to go. And that, I think, was really promising. Happy to see him back. Thomas says, lack of long pass accuracy. Also relatively few long passes. Cynical says, Martinez is the key. We need Boosie back in the midfield. Two things that would help with our long pass accuracy. Martinez back and Boosie in the midfield. I don't know, says, and 3 substitutions in the 90 minutes, in the 90th minute. Earlier, like Tata makes subs earlier, bro. He's just going to be late on the subs, I guess. It's just what it is. You need the best 11 combination and not the best 11 players. Ash, again, snaps for that. That's a great comment. A says, no, it isn't. We need Busquets there. It depends on your opponent. The wrong midfield for this team. 3 subs in the 90th minute. Yeah. Messi got sharper. Everyone on offense was off in the first half. Agree. And again, Messi, I was really happy with his performance. A says, still a little rusty. Jose says, should we start getting a tad bit worried? These tie games feel like we lost. So I'm going to leave that one to you because I think you are much more along the lines of this comment than I am right now.
I've been worried for a little bit. I haven't shown it when we discuss the tactics and when you discuss the games, but I have been worried. If you think about it, we have 3 games left to prepare ourselves for the playoffs. And if we play like this in the playoffs, I don't think we can beat a team in a one-off game. We will slip up. We will eventually slip up.
It feels like if we play like this, it's a 50-50.
Exactly.
And we should be the better team.
Yeah.
Especially at home.
You don't want to leave it at 50-50, right? You want to be able to control the outcome, and especially with the talent and the players that you have on the pitch. So it just feels like we're leaving too much to chance and we're not clicking in the right places at times. And sometimes something clicks and then another thing breaks down, another thing clicks, something else breaks down. So it all needs to come together. And I don't know if there's enough time for that. I really hope there is. But there's another argument to be made that maybe some of these players are now conserving themselves for the playoffs. And when we do get to the playoffs, Messi, Suarez, Alba, Busquets raise their game even further. We'll see, but at this point in time, I'm not fully convinced by what we're putting out there on the pitch.
Okay, let's run through some of these quick because you guys are amazing. We wanted to do this just to have more interaction with you, and you guys blow us away every single time. But it is going to be 40 minutes. There are other Inter Miami content, so but I want to get to all of them because I think we just love you guys and we want to do that. We're lucky that Columbus and Cincinnati didn't win. Yes, but also I think we've got the shield wrapped up. Is it part of Tata's tactics to slow down during the counter so the other team has time to get back? No, that's just the fact that we're not very pacey. I'm
not going to say it, man. Let's keep rolling through.
Upcode says Rojas may not start against Crew. Watch Tata's tactics. Yeah. Messi is still very rusty. Hidden name, which is a great name, says, yeah. But Tata has been putting Gressel starting the game when Messi is on the pitch. Yep. See you on Wednesday, guys. I think that will be the decider for the supporter shield. If Inter Miami wins that game, it's over. Probably officially over. Maybe maybe the Galaxy can still get to it. I don't know, but certainly
Columbus is 8 points ahead behind us with 1 game in hand. Next week they will have about 3 games left, and if we beat them, it won't be officially mathematically over. No, actually, it will be. It will be. You're right. It will be mathematically over
for Columbus, but maybe not for the Galaxy, who have 1 extra point. But if we draw, I still think it's over, and if we lose, then it's a real squeaky bum time. Ash says it's been the theme of the last several games: missed chances. Actually, this is the first game I felt that way. I thought we were the worst team in the last 3 games, or at least the last 2. This one, I felt we were the better team. We had 2 absolute sure goals. Yep. All of them. No way we can accept a tie. Thank goodness Boosie played 21 shots to 8 shots on goal, almost 3 XG. We had a very good game, just didn't finish. I do think this is going to be the takeaway when we get over sort of the raw emotions. Sean says Gressel was bad. Redondo was good first half, but also disappeared in second half. I think that's probably fair. Upcode, their goal was a prayer. Come on. Also fair. Josua says, I feel conflicted. We need Boosie to play center back, but we also need him to play mid because the midfield seems lost, lacks creativity. As far as center back goes, for a while there, it felt like it was Aviles and Christoph, and then Busquets sort of worked his way in. But it does feel, and then David Martinez came. But it does feel like Tata has gained more trust in both Ian Frey and Noah Allen over the past couple months to the point where maybe Busquets can sort of not play in the midfield. I don't know if he's going to trust on the playoffs, but over the last couple games.
Not going to comment on anything related to Tata Martino tonight.
Clear the bench for Columbus. When does Martinez return? My guess is he's going to play in that New England game, but it's just a guess. Frey will start for the Columbus game, but will he start as a center back or right back? I would love to see him as a right back. Ash says the team makes too many weak passes at inopportune times. Thomas says, I don't have a problem if he rotates with Campana Rojas on top to press Columbus and Frey back. I don't have a problem if he rotates in a strategic way. I think he might rotate like he did against Atlanta to just have 8 new players just to keep everyone fresh for that Toronto game. If he feels like he can get 3 points at Toronto, if he sacrifices the Columbus game, I think he might do that. Honestly, the first half was terrible. Our second half, we were shelling them, just couldn't finish. I agree. Summer Sunshine says Messi was amazing today, and yes, Rojas should have come on earlier. Ash says, can we get the Argentine men's national team third bench coach as our manager? Messi needs good service from the midfield. Tata got it right in the second half. We had 16 shots, so you have to give it to them. And, part of this is the fact that Charlotte played really good defensively. And I think
I feel like, we had like 3 XG, but of that, I'm pretty sure the 2.9 XG was for Luis Suarez's miss.
Let me see if I can pull up the stats right now. We had 4 missed chances. 2 of them were on Suarez. One of them was that Campana shot late.
That shot, by the way.
Yeah. Tata's first half, he got it wrong. Silo says, what does Gressel give back except rubs for Tata? Rojas should be in there instead of him. Yes, I think he will be. I think Gressel's going to be on the bench this game. We've talked about all year, what do you do when everyone's finally healthy and Gressel has to go to the bench? And then someone always gets injured, so Gressel keeps starting. But I think he's going to be on the bench on Wednesday, unless Diego Gomez can't go for some reason. Because we did see him come off for a minute or 2, and he just come off that injury. Redondo better this game, way better than the last 2. He's just not an offensive midfielder. Yep. I had rather prefer Messi plays as an attacking midfielder so someone else could run through the right side. While Messi connects the midfield and offense, he rarely stays in one position. I don't think you can get away with that for in this league because he just doesn't do anything defensively. Redondo is better today. Maybe Tata wants him to drop off more. Upcode says the forwards lost the possession more than the midfield. True. Summer says, question, Messi got a yellow card, and I believe he had another one from previous games. Am I correct? Does this mean he'll miss the next game? No, it does not. Bizrat says, it's not Gressel, it's Tata that is the problem. I think that's, you can say that and it'd be fair. Honestly, the 3 forwards were just off in the final third in the first half. Yeah, and I didn't think Suarez or Gomez really got it. Like Messi got it in the second half. A says 8 people defending at best and not much to show for it deserves scrutiny. Let's get real. Most players, and this is from Myrna, didn't play well. We're still adjusting to the 4 amigos playing together again. Tata needs to watch the games where we tied because his combinations aren't working. Do you think he watches these games back and thinks to himself, I did good?
I don't think he watches the games at all, even when he's on the sidelines.
Rojas almost scored a golazo.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
He had that left shot. You don't remember that?
Oh, sorry, Rojas. No, I was thinking of Diego Gomez. You're right. I thought that was going in, dude.
I thought that was going in as well.
I saw Kalina just planted like he was so shocked. I thought it was going in. I thought that was the game winner. Upcode says maybe dumb question. Could Rojas play left wing? We've seen it in spurts, and he looked good. And so I'm shocked that we haven't seen it really for like a period of time. No, the Galaxy will be at 67. If we win, we'll be at 68. So there you go. Another one on the Galaxy. Rojas on the left makes no sense. He can't cut inside to shoot, says Nuno. No, but he still has that creative ability, and also he's just really good at combination play with these other very technical players. I think it'll play well with Jordi Alba, and I think he's the type of player that can come back, receive the ball in the midfield, take a few steps forward, and then get the ball to Messi high up the pitch. And so if he's up front, he can do both roles instead of taking a midfielder off the field to get that from him. And also it might not work, but I would like to see it because it could work and it could solve a lot of our problems. Summer says both Gomez and Gressel were not great today. I agree. And then the last one before we wrap it up, Upcode says Rojas has 2 strong feet with great touch and finishes well. Again, I think there's a role for Rojas on that left side that could be good. It worked for Di Maria, so I think he can pull it off too. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. It is the best part of what we do here. One last time, I'll ask you to hit the like button. But again, interacting with you guys is why we do this post game. It's why we do most of this, because it's so much fun. And I love it. And even though Saur's frustrated and you can't see it on his face right now, he loves it too. But we will be back tomorrow for our normal post-game recap. We'll rewatch the game and sort of go over it moment by moment, and we'll give out some awards and all those things that we do. Guys, until then, I hope you have a wonderful night, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Till then.